Tuesday, June 2nd. The agenda continues. The orchestrated agenda continues. How many people are feeding into it? Oh! So dumb. You know, by doing all of this stuff in so many places, they've been exposed to a lot more people in understanding how orchestrated these things happen. You know, when you have things that have occurred over the years or in other countries that are sparked for political reasons and specific agendas, a lot of times war and takeover of the economy, and you're trying to explain that to people, you know, and they're like, you know. Well, it's happening now in so many places that so many actual people can see how non-generic and how orchestrated this shit is. I'll give you an example. Sunday's protest in Atlantic City was scheduled at 1 o'clock. My wife works in the city, so she was there. This isn't coming from the internet, and I know people all over the place, so it's coming from actual people that were there to witness it. They, not in the protest, but working in the city. They had their protest. It was full of different races, cultures, age groups. There were various signs ranging from George Floyd to the government is the actual virus. You know, open our businesses, things like that. Things that are affecting all of us, you know. The common element between what's truly going on here, the loss of rights and the control of people's right to make a living and to live freely, no matter what fucking race, culture, creed, age, gender you are. And it went off fine. It went off with no problems. That was at 1 o'clock. The evening set in around 6 p.m. Eastern. An influx of vehicles started coming in the expressway, into the outlets, which if you know the area, they're right in there as you come in from the expressway. And all hell started breaking loose. All these young kids jumping out of Mercedeses, out-of-state tags, New York, Pennsylvania. You can look at the list of people that were arrested. Mostly out-of-state people. Definitely out-of-city, minimally. All come in to smash businesses, steal smart TVs and sneakers for George Floyd. Woo! George Floyd! Yeah, that's what's going on. And from that, the people that saw it, including a lot of the cops that worked it, could see that this was planned in two separate things. But then they were combined, you see, because in the media coverage, you see, because that's what this is about. It's about, you know, destroying any kind of protest for freedom and, you know, polluting it with these aspects so that, A, police turn against people, B, people turn against each other, and C, they can institute and people will comply to police state type rules and curfews and for their own safety because we're so scared of the riots. And I know in bigger cities, of course, it's worse. It's still going on in Philly and New York and places like that. Only certain aspects of the city. I know people that are there when nothing is happening. And I know people who are in places where it hasn't stopped. You know, and if you understand, again, the mob mentality, how the shit gets sparked, and then you take a geographical location where a lot of the people live in fear to begin with, ridden with gangs and crime and lack of parenting and guidance for the youth who grow up seeking that externally, finding it in ways like gangs, which is just a fear-based way of living, calling it family. I know, I worked in that field for 15 years. There's no real sense of comfort in it. It's a fear-based, constant way of living, survival mode that these kids live in. And they're easily guided. And they have a lot of pent-up anger and get them started and they'll run around and trash everything. They're mad at mommy and daddy, you know. But if the adults in the freedom movement feed into it and think this is about, we're revolting. Yeah, we're not. It's all being steered. It's all being driven. It's all the same means to the same outcome. It's clear by the fact that you haven't heard a fucking word about the coronavirus in 3 days. You know, for all you people that think the media would never lie to us, you just saw 3 months of non-stop coverage. From the news, to shows, to At Home Together, to live shows being done from living rooms, to commercials saying, oh, Toyota's here for you. Oh, we're all here for you. Over and over and over again for 3 fucking months to nothing but riots now. Nothing but riots. It's about fear. It's about getting people in fear mode, angry. I think it's all fucking stupid. That's what I think. I think that the more they try to do it in towns like this, like they're doing today, supposedly over in Summers Point at the Ocean City 9th Street Bridge, which connects Summers Point to Ocean City, which most of the vacationers down by the highway, I'm trying to stay away from people. There isn't many people out here today. But anyway, where vacationers travel to, which this past weekend we had many do. I think I mentioned on a past video. There's supposed to be a protest going on right now, actually, you know. So, the idiots that show up and want to fight the police, you're going to get your ass kicked. You're being set up. For the people that feed into it at home and get mad at the situation going on currently, instead of seeing the bigger situation and realizing this is about bringing in the police state, setting it up so you want it, turning the environment into an environment of fear where these rules are enforced by way of everyone's guilty because of what a little bunch of fucking baby, you know, Antifas and Black Lives Matters and people that join organizations to have some kind of psychological self-worth when they get out of bed because they're so fucking damaged and traumatized they have to blame everybody else for their own psychological mess. The kind that those people join that can then run out and steal sneakers and TVs and high-five each other and say, it's for George Floyd. You know? They're jokes. They're little fucking babies. Fuck them. Because they're also making sure they target certain businesses. That was a huge-ass spider web just, like, engulfed my head. They're making sure they target certain businesses. Because, again, when they want to open up, they're trying to put the little man out of business, or they're trying to put certain aspects of wholesale places or outlets or whatever the fuck they want to put out of business while they acquire all of the other businesses through the central banks and the printing of money, which is being influxed into the stocks, distributed by the Federal Reserve, purchased by the central banks, as they own everything in dollars, which the Federal Reserve owns. But no, man, it's the reset, 0-0. There, the Fed's being put out, conjoined with government, owning all of the resources, products, goods, and services, the control of it all, the production of it all, the distribution of it all. Anything they don't want, they're destroying. Whatever they don't want, in whatever ways. Stock market, riots, wherever they target, because it's all being targeted. Because, by the way, I didn't finish the Atlantic City story. So, my wife had to come home from work, so she had to drive through it all. And she's driving through, people fucking smashing windows and stealing shit, and while she's yelling at them. My wife is quite a spitfire. I'm like, will you just get home, please? She's like, you motherfucker. She's yelling out the car window at people. It's my girl. But she's reporting to me the out of license plate tags coming in, and the age group of people, and the clear targeted. It was very obvious. Everyone came pouring in, and then it was over. Then it was all cleaned up. It's still closed down, of course, certain aspects of it. Now they want to move, like I said, all of a sudden get a story going about the Summers Point Bridge. They want to deter people coming down the shore. They want to hit some of the suburban areas where they think people are going to be scared, which is actually a fucking mistake. You know how many guns are in these neighborhoods? People don't fucking play, you know. People are fed up with the lies. Not the people that are you know, the little babies that are going to come run through. They know the bigger lie. People do. People are seeing it. And regardless, you know, doing something that keeps people in a state of fear, from the virus to this to, it's not affecting as many people anymore. People have had it, you know. So, play your games, the same games you play when you destabilize countries like Iran with shit like this, or when you lie about fucking gas in Syria and the white helmets, or when you lie about Iran attacking here, or weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, or the bullshit 9/11s, or the fake ass viruses, the fake shootings, all the false flags. Keep doing it, because you know what? People are fucking sick of it, and they're seeing through it. And we know who the enemy is. It is those that are trying to take our freedoms, whether they want to use order followers or not to do it. Some of them are seeing it. More and more. Not all. You know, hey, how's it going, man? Right. I love them tires, dude. That's an awesome bike. So I'm not condemning all of them either, because it was a retired trooper that actually got my wife and her coworkers to her car through all the chaos coming out of their jobs. On Sunday, he wasn't out running people over and shooting people with rubber bullets, because I actually treat people as individuals, not as groups where I lump them in. Because if you don't do that, and you don't realize that those individuals that you're trying to wake up need to wake up, and you have to support that, because without it, they're going to be dumped into their modes of fear, and they're going to follow their orders, and they're going to be afraid of everybody, and they're going to be out there in their survival modes doing what you saw that military, quote-unquote, police unit, it looks very militaristic to me, do in that neighborhood, where they were telling people to get inside and shooting rubber bullets. Supposedly. Who the fuck knows what's fake and propaganda anymore? You know? I mean, you know what I mean? Everything that they're doing is just to induce fear. Here's my flowers. Let's change modes for a minute. I showed you these the other day. They're coming in. They only come in for a few weeks. And they're coming in all around. They're beautiful. So, I know you're thinking, hey, who gives a shit? Well, you know, I love these flowers. You only get them in like May, June. They're gone by July pretty much. Of course, this fucking weather, like, look at these here. They're not even in yet. You know, these are usually way in by now. But as you can see, we have another day of flat white skies with no clouds, no sun, no rain. You know, weird energies in the air today. Again, you know, I woke up in a shitty mood. If you don't realize that frequencies can affect human behavior and human thought patterns, then again, you haven't studied enough. So who knows what the fuck they're doing, you know? Trying to get people into a mode of violence. See, I won't take part in any violence, as I've said. I won't take my anger out and burn down there. You know, in fact, that dude, the one part video, because I don't watch hardly any of this shit, because fucking it's not entertainment to me. It's fucking dumb. But I did see the dude throw the Mazel Tov cocktail, which came back on him and fucking lit him all on fire, and he's all running away. Oh, I roared laughing. That was fucking hysterical. That's what happens when you destroy fucking property. Sorry, I don't feel sorry for them. They're not the victims, you see. You're out inciting or partaking in violence for this, you know, paradigm shift that's supposed to be taking place. If that's what you're out doing, you're part of the old system. Don't want nothing to do with you. You go enjoy that. I'll defend myself to the death. You will not take my freedoms, even if it means misguided order followers are coming to take my freedoms because of lies and actions that occurred by a bunch of lefty, loony, fucking crazy people. I don't give a fuck what the circumstances are and who comes, whether a lefty loony comes to assault me or my property or someone comes to take my freedoms. Nobody's taking my freedoms. No one's assaulting me. You see, that's how it goes. And if they do, then, again, there will be consequences for that. I don't give a fuck what they are. But I'm not going out to take out my anger. We're gonna stand up to. You're just fucking falling for it all. That's why I wouldn't go over there to see those idiots, whatever they're gonna be out protesting. All I would do is get mad at it. So why would I put myself through that emotional trauma when I know they're just brainwashed idiots and I know that they're a means to an end? They're a bunch of useful dupes being used to bring about a planned result. So is that who I want? Is that who my beef is with? Bunch of people that aren't going to listen to you. What am I going to go start screaming? Haven't you ever heard of George Soros and shit at them? You guys, here, look this up. Is that what you're supposed to go do? No. You're supposed to not be afraid of them. Fuck these people. If they choose to bring it to you, well, you do what you need to do. And if the result of their actions brings loss of freedoms, again, do what we need to do, Doesn't mean going out inciting violence. It means not allowing anyone to take your freedoms and not complying with your own slavery. That's what it means. If we do that in enough numbers, they can't win. If enough, even people in all the various aspects of careers get their heads out of their asses and say, no, we're not going back to school with masks and this and that. We're not going to take part in that environment. Police, no, we're not taking part in the destruction of the constitutional rights. Military, no, we're not shutting down our own streets when we know this is being done. You know how we know this is being done? Because this is what we do when we go over and take over other countries. This is why we come home all fucked up with PTSD and alcohol problems and shit. Because they come home and realize what they've done, a lot of them. Then they're shut out of the VA. And many of them have done many heroic things to save each other from an imagined enemy. Then they got to deal with that. Same in the world of police when you wake up to see what that's really turned into and what you're a part of. Either you're going to choose to stay and become it, or you're going to find your soul, stand against it. First by not doing it. All right, anyway, I'm going to cut it there. Walked my way pretty deep in here. It's getting late. I'm ready to get back. And I don't want to keep going on and on about it because it's stupid. So wake up. See the entirety of what's going on. Stop falling for the bullshit. Realize the propaganda. They went from one to the other. They'll be back to the virus. They're still doing, it's all fucking bullshit. It's all one agenda with many moving parts, all means to an end, all part of a problem, reaction, solution, scenario, moving the pieces on the chessboard closer to what they want. Use counter moves by surprising them and not fucking falling for it. Not gonna fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Love you guys. Get learning, get speaking.